My name is Martina Musteen, and I'm the Charles Hostler Professor of Global Business at San Diego State University in the Fowler College of Business. And I am extremely pleased to have here Dr. Nabil Arrach from Progenesis, the CEO and founder of Progenesis, to talk to me about your company and particularly about your international successes. Nabil, in a few sentences, tell us about yourself and about your company, what it does.
Thank you so much for visiting us. It's a true pleasure to see a teacher from San Diego University, a teacher that I have studied under, and it's always a pleasure to see you here at Progenesis. A little bit about me. I am by background or by training, I am a molecular geneticist that happened to also be interested in business. So I am a hybrid PhD on molecular and cellular biology, but I also have completed my MBA at San Diego State University in 2010. The company was founded in 2015 as a San Diego-based company, and then quickly became a company that is operating in the U.S. territories, including East Coast, West Coast, and at some point in our growth, we have realized that there is a bigger need for patients to access our diagnostic solution beyond the United States, and especially in countries where reproductive genetics is not available. And that's where we started looking at other countries. Now we have expanded just lately, a year ago, we have expanded in other countries that I can talk a little bit more about maybe in the next questions.
All right.
Yeah.
Just tell us a little bit more. What specifically does your company do?
Yeah, so we are a reproductive genetics company. So what we do is we assess embryos. So patients that are struggling with infertility, most of the time they don't do anything about it, but then when time comes, they will visit a fertility center to try to conceive through in vitro fertilization. One of the primary reasons why couples cannot conceive is either age. So advanced maternal age is an important factor that impacts fertility. There are other conditions, genetic conditions, that also can play a role there. But what we try to do is we try to solve that problem of age, because with age, the frequency or the likelihood of having an egg and a sperm that is chromosomally normal that can continue to develop in the pregnancy is very small. So for example, in 35 years old patients, it's probably 65% likelihood of having a normal embryo with the natural conception. But if you go to 41, 42, it becomes less than 15% or 20%. So what we do is we work together with fertility centers to test a small material of that same embryo that is used for pregnancy. So we test only a few cells that are on the outside layer that typically will contribute to placenta, so it's not impacting the health of the baby, but they will give you enough answers to try to decide what embryo to transfer, which one is chromosomally normal, which one is more likely to lead to a baby.
And how many countries are you now present in?
We recently expanded in Brazil. So we incorporated a company and a laboratory in Sao Paulo, Brazil. But and then earlier in that same year, we expanded in India, in New Delhi, in India. At some point during that course of developing the lab, we also started a data center in Chennai in South India. And in the last month or so, we started the expansion in Turkey and in Spain.
Wow.
Yeah,
So when was the first expansion? When the
uh,
Indian?
it was India and then Brazil.
And what year was it? When?
Just a year, just
Wow.
last year. All these expansions are happening within
Wow.
a year or year and a half. Yeah.
So how do you decide which countries to approach?
Number one is the need. The need and the size of the markets. The size of the market is a reflection of the need, right? So if you go to Brazil, there are approximately 50 to 60,000 cycles per year, meaning that 60,000 treatments per year for fertility. But if you go to India, there are maybe 250 to 300,000 cycles per year. India is a super large market for fertility treatments, but is untapped, and options for reproductive genetics are very limited. Turkey is another place that is, oh, very popular in fertility treatment. There are patients that comes to Turkey from other countries, and a patient that within Turkey. And so primary decisions is how much need is in there. For countries or with limited number of cycles, we go there. We do educate the fertility specialists and the embryologists who are involved in the treatments, and we do a lot of outreach and science communication, and we serve them from the U.S. locations. So we still have patients coming from Panama and from Colombia and from other countries. We do the same amount of efforts reaching out to them, just the laboratory location is in the US.
So Nabil, when you decide that there's a country that has the sufficient need, sufficient market, how do you go about entering that market? What's the key to success?
Yeah, so entering a new markets requires understanding how the market works and what are the main players, what are current competitors. You have to do a little bit of market study or market research. And then the incorporation is more of a legal process. There are companies in pretty much every country that will help you incorporate, and they will help you run your tax return and do some minor HR functions. And so those are companies that are designed to help a new company enter the markets. And we've seen them in India, we've seen them in Turkey, we've seen them everywhere. Yeah? Now, how do you become successful? Number one is you have to have something of value to offer. And you have to make sure it is communicated clearly to the end user. And then there is enough distinction between what you offer and what they have seen. Building a successful operation relies on local players. You have to involve the local community, hired qualified individuals who have good understanding of the markets, on a good understanding of the technology, etc., and then give them the support and all that. So the team is a very strong component of the success. When you bring a technology that is good enough for the market, that is innovative, that has components that have not been offered by other competitors, and then you have a good team and you have a good approach to markets, because the approach to markets is also it may sound obvious, but it really isn't. So for example, one of the way we brand our company is through science and science communication. So we sponsor conferences, we we bring our speakers to talk about science, and we become part of the social fabric. We're not this unknown company that is coming from the US. We're actually part of the community that is trying to solve a problem. One of it could be infertility and aspects related to infertility. So we become a contributor in some ways. And that's how we get the trust of the community, because at the end, you are working with medical professionals, and and clinics, and you have to build that relationship with them to be able to be successful.
Interesting. So do you see that, I mean, you have to have those hard skills, technical skills, but also there's the soft side of building the
100%.
business.
Yeah, 100%. Because at the end is human to human, relationship, right? So to have a trusted partner, or to build that trust in that relationship, you have to interact with them and you have to know them into a deep level. And I think that we accomplish that by going to that country, organizing social events. We do conference participation. We talk about our science. We help them. We have done workshops lately in Colombia. We've had in Panama. We have workshops. We actually train local embryologists, perform a biopsy, and all the things like that. And so when you are offering something of value, training and education, you are in a position where you are building that trust relationship, and you're coming off as an expert. Yeah.
And I guess, would you say you have to be there? You have to be in the country. It's not something that can be done over Zoom.
No, absolutely not. You have to interact with people, and you have to have hands-on, collaboration, and you have to be there physically, for sure. Yeah.
Looking back now in the past 8 years, is there anything you would have done differently? Are there any lessons learned maybe that you might like to talk about?
Yeah. So what I would say is the company took a completely different direction than a conventional startup. In a startup environment, you have a good business idea and a prototype, and you try to raise funds to run that operation, and with the hope that you're going to grow the market, and you go for a second round and the third round of investments. We have gone organic since day one and made sure that we are successful within that organic environments. So we have not tried to seek any investments whatsoever. So that gives us a lot of independence in terms of decisions, and something about Progenesis is we're not necessarily driven by financial aspects. We're trying to build a good products first. Obviously, you have to be financially wise to be able to run a company, but it shouldn't be your first priority. Your first priority is really to build something of value that will help you grow long term. And so, to your question, what we would have done differently, I wouldn't have chosen a different path, because growing a company takes time. So if you try to grow a company, you have two options. You can seek external resources and then go for a very quick path. We have seen companies do that. Some of them succeed, some of them don't. But when you're building a company and you're going organically, you have higher chance of succeeding, because every decision that you're making is based on a realistic picture. And I think that's what I would say. I wouldn't change that. How soon we would have approached the market, that maybe we could have approached it a little sooner. But again, we were trying to build enough confidence and enough resources to be able to go exponentially and expand. So I wouldn't really change things much. I think the story of Progenesis is a unique story, and I'm very proud of it.
So are there other countries now on the horizon?
Yes, we are currently working on expanding the laboratory practice in Turkey, and Spain is also in the works. So we have started our legal work there. We have acquired a system, electronic management system for patients that is used by many clinics currently, and we wanted to use that as our way of expanding our product line. And next to that, we are going to Japan. So I think within the next 4 to 5 years, we will be probably in 10 to 12 locations worldwide. So that's the picture.
Maybe one out of my last questions. You are a proud Aztec. You have graduated with an MBA about 13 years ago. What does the education you received in SDSU mean for you personally, professionally?
Yeah, there is an emotional attachment to San Diego State University for obvious reasons. I think what I've learned from San Diego State University is the ability to communicate. Because you can learn marketing concepts and business concepts in books, but really that community, San Diego State University, that community that exists there, and how they help each other and how they help you improve your communication skills. Because I really had teachers who have helped me in that. And so as a scientist, you don't necessarily have the best approach when it comes to communication. So I went from being a scientist to being an entrepreneur. So everything that I've seen at San Diego State University was a learning experience for me, and I'm very appreciative to that.
That's wonderful. Last one, any then maybe advice to current students who maybe are aspiring to be entrepreneurs, international entrepreneurs? Any words of wisdom?
Well, yes, it's pick the field that interests you the most, that you are in love with, and the rest is just work. Be consistent and don't give up too quick. Things don't come too easy, but if you work with consistency, you can certainly see results. And if you feel the first time is not a problem, you can try one more time, 2, 3 times. But I think as far as international business, that's to me, it's a second step level. It's like a second level business practice. It's easier to do business where you are because you know the social components and you know people, and it's easy to navigate. But when you go to another country, you have to rely on experts there to help you do that. And to rely on them, you have to have enough resources. So that's why we, at Progenesis, we grew locally and then nationally, and then we expanded. So, but if you have a lot of resources, then you can start internationally. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nabil, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure, and I wish you and Progenesis all the good luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you for seeing us.